Hey guys, what's up? Well, we're back to Lonely Hippie at the bar. I'm thinking of dropping the lady. Yeah, I'm fidgeting already. It's ridiculous. He has, run a rescue shelter for cats, apparently. God picked us and they're just here. And we have quite a few. Can't get any help. The agency here is a kill shelter. There's an agency that is not, technically anyway, a kill shelter, but they won't accept anybody from Richmond County. So we've been struggling to do this on our own. And my husband spends about $400 a month just to feed them. And I mean, and that's just because there are so many. And they wait. They run after our car. They recognize our car in the truck, but they definitely know it's my car. And they just line up, and you just and they want. There's nothing here I can do to help them other than go broke, which is what we're doing. I would like some feedback if anybody has any ideas. I'm thinking about going onto a GoFundMe page. I've tried to get help from Purina, all the big name brands to, if nothing else, allow me to buy something in a bigger bulk than what you can buy here. And even at the box stores, it's what they're called now. I understand it. Anyway, you can't get anything bigger than what I can already buy at Walmart. Although I'm seriously thinking about stop shopping at Walmart, but that's another story. So, and that's a wonderful takeoff, isn't it? Yeah, I got to help cats. Unfortunately, Gray Ghost ran in the house about a month ago and it kept running, wouldn't let me catch him, put him back outside. He appeared about a week earlier up underneath the porch, and I'd only heard him that one time. It turns out it's a girl, by the way, so it's her. And when I heard her a second time, I ran in the house and got another plate and brought it out there to her. They all have their own individual plates that I wash every day. And so she ate some of the food, and I opened the door to go back in because the others weren't jumping out. She was a little bitty. I'd say about 3 to 4 months old. And so I opened the door to go in the house, and that cat shot in there like she'd been put in a cannon. I mean, it was like Acme had showed up out of our old cartoons. And at the time, she'd been bitten by a dog. She had a very bad injury to the tip of her tail, which we put antibiotic ointment on, but let nature take its course. We knew she would lose that tip. And she was doing pretty good, but she was breathing heavy, I thought, when we got her. Well, she didn't want anybody but Robert. When I was chasing her around the house, I was trying to grab her. I ran outside. I got her food and put it on the back porch. This is why I closed the kitchen door and opened the utility door, because if they do get in, they're only in the utility room. Well, Ghost managed to run through the whole house with me going, I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm just because we just can't take anymore. It's a small house. And I just intended to put him back outside. At the time, I thought it was a boy. In any event, I yelled for Robert for help. She ran right to Robert, and he just bent down and put a hand out. She stepped in his hand, and that was it. That's who she was looking for. So we now had another cat in the house, and she's great. She's the funniest little thing. I've been wanting to put her on YouTube. I'm going to do that yet. Right now, I'm very worried. Is why I brought the subject up. I had two cats that had a respiratory ailment, and they were dying on me, both of them. And one of them was Kit, and one was one of the black cats. And I had one antibiotic of Robert's left, and my gabapentin, and I had looked up what to do to help, because this was over holiday season. I couldn't even get the emergency room doctor to answer. So, this is if we're close, you call the emergency number. Yeah, they don't answer that. So we know we're going to lose. At this happened several months apart, that we were going to lose them if not. And I had already saved Kit first, twice actually. This would be the third time. And again, I found one antibiotic pill left of Robert's from a couple months back. So I beat it up, and they said I could give him gabapentin for pain, and I take gabapentin for pain. And believe me, that stuff, you can't pry it out of my hands. It's like attached to my gun. So it's not going anywhere. So I put that together with the antibiotics, screwed them all together, and put them in a little teacup that I use. It's just a cute novelty set of a teacup and a teacup. And they're like this big. Yeah. So I said, okay, this will be safe, and I'll know right where it's at. And I got the one, and it saved him. That was Kit first. And then the second one, I said, oh my God, did it? So it started to travel, I thought, around the cats inside. And so I treated the second one, and both of them required a couple of treatments, only two, and then they were back on their feet, and you could see they were okay. You don't want to over medicate either, especially when you're not a veterinarian, which I'm not. I mean, Google does have everything, and they only had me and Robert. I mean, they just had us, and so we had to find a way, if we could, to save them because we couldn't get any help. And the second one, I'm trying to remember which one of the black kittens, but it's one of the black kittens. So again, I applied the same thing 2 days running. And then I was out of antibiotic. And I mean, like I said, I take gabapentin for seizures that I have. And you'd have to pry it out of my cold dead hand. Because I left the VA and I went the holistic route for a couple of years because I got tired of them telling me and then hearing these stupid commercials about opioid addicts and stuff like that. Man, I paid my freaking insurance. I paid my pharmacy. I paid my doctor. And I took what they freaking shit and told me, excuse my French. And what happens? I'm labeled a drug addict. Jackasses. I'm a 65-year-old grandmother. I could teach you a thing or two about a drug addict. Let me tell you. I mean, I went through the 60s, 70s, 80s. Hello. Didn't even smoke cigarettes. I mean, come on, give me a break. So, I mean, I was not happy, as you can see. So now I've got a third one. And I don't have any antibiotics. Right now, I'm trying to dose her with Benadryl and gabapentin for the pain. Because believe me, I've had pneumococcal pneumonia. And for those of you who don't understand what the China virus is, and I'm going to stick with that like we stuck with the Spanish flu, that's what the China virus is, China flu. It's China influenza tweaked, like China influenza 9.0, okay? Yeah, that's what that is. And now they're wanting you to run around and sign a contract that you will take their medicine. I love Moderna and them. I love to set them on fire, but you can't do that. It's against the law. So nobody listen to that, okay? You can't do it. It won't solve nothing. Just puts environment busy and in danger. You don't want to do that. But sometimes you really do want to slap them stupid and say, look, but you can't even slap the stupid off them. You slap them once, just slap them twice, and slap them again. They still stupid. Just stupid as hell. Mm. But Robert has been my mainstay through this. We started out with one cat, and I can't remember what breed he was, but he was a very expensive breed, and he looked like he had a broken paw. And it was it was like January, and even for Georgia at that time, it was cold. And so I got one of I had these big bins that I changed my clothes out over the seasons. So I just dumped everything out and put a bunch of blankets and stuff in there, and I put it in the porch. And just they would have shelter. It would be warm inside there. Even their own body, he would keep them warm. And I don't know if he used it or not, but every morning at 5 o'clock, he would be sitting on my table. I have a table on one end, and he would be sitting there waiting, and he would say, Sammy. He was a big baby, beautiful, black and white. I can't remember the breed. Anyway, so I fed him for 2 years. His paw went back. He could walk. Then he brought the wife. She was pregnant. So I'm at this point feeding 8 cats. We didn't know what to do. We called everywhere. We tried to find out help. Their help was, yeah, bring him down here. We'll kill him today. Yes. You know, even a neighbor had sued me without even asking me anything, just sued me, and it cost my husband several $100s to pay my probation and my fine so I didn't go to jail. Yeah, for feeding a cat. Yeah, yeah, that kind of neighbor. Yeah, I got a couple more down the road. And we're freaking out because for 2 years, they just keep coming. Robert caught several times, he has caught people dropping off domesticated cats because they have to move and they can't have the cat with them. and they heard there was a nice couple on the corner that fed them. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm up to the nine outside, and inside way too many. And now we're worried that ghosts may not make it, and that just kills us because hey, when a cat runs to you, God sent them. You know, this is something else I don't understand about organized religion, but I will go ahead and say my piece. Um, there's a piece in the Old Testament about Sodom and Gomorrah. And I think most of you have probably gotten that through Bible school, or maybe you read it, or you heard it. Yeah, depending on who you are, who your parents were. There's so many different denomination, Pentecostal. I mean, it's just so I say Catholic for me because I kind of stuck with that because it cracks me up that they kept throwing me out and calling me a communist. So I had fun with it for about 20 years. But at the same time, I studied everything. But you have to bear in mind, in my era, it was black and white TV, and there was a baseball game on, there was the soap operas on, and the other one was PBS with Sesame Street. That was it. You ran in, did your chores, ate your dinner, did the rest of the chores, ran with your homework, which mine was done before I left. I was always 2 years ahead. Not because they put me there, although they wanted to, but because it was just fun. And I was bored. That you'd run up and just catch the Partridge Family or the Monkeys or whoever the flavor of the day was. It's not like that now. If you wanted to learn something in my day, you went to 15 libraries, you got 100 books, you went home and said, oh, please let it be on 257. It's not like that now. And yet I can find no one to help. I have not gotten any suggestions, any hints, even call so and so or dumbass, anything. Oh, I've also stated I have a very small pool as far as family goes. Um, I was adopted, and the family reached out and found me when I was 30. Poor babies. That's the story. Um, Now, I wasn't surprised I didn't get any viewership, we'll say, from those people. And the really weird thing is that those people are also, well, they are my husband's family. And one of these days, if you put it in the comments, I'll bloody tell you about it. It's one hell of a story. Still might write it. You never know. I have published once. People saying you should do that. You scare people. Damn Skippy, they should be scared. Trust me, if they find you, run. Change addresses, change your phone, go to another state. Just don't return the call. You don't need it. If you're over 30 and some of your family from somewhere else and they call themselves a birth family, if they're looking for you, hide. Run and hide. And I'll leave that there for the moment. Well, so yeah, I'm worried about all that and the above. Um, well, I tried to look at there's no local news, there's no national news, there's no world news. So you have to drill through these different places. So I like the Israeli news, the idea I keep up with. And I like, believe it or not, the German news. I'm surprised to hear myself say that. I served there for a couple of years. My son was born in Heidelberg. And I love Germany. Don't get me wrong. I love Germany. If you never get a chance to see another castle in your life, go and see the castle in Bavaria by the Mad King Ludwig, as he was called, WOODSTOCK. And and that's the other thing, bringing me around to another point, is it was modeled, the Disney castle was modeled on that castle, and it burned yesterday, or maybe it was the day before, and I haven't spoken about it because it broke my heart. I'm a castle person. I love castles. I mean, would I buy one for $100? No, not a chance. I'm also a very spoiled brat. As you can ask my husband, he'll tell you, yes, she's spoiled. Actually, anybody his side will say she's spoiled because they're scared of me, and they have good reason. Mm. They don't intend to rebuild that, I don't believe. I don't know how the fire started at the castle. I don't know why they couldn't put it out, but Notre Dame we've lost, and now the castle at Disney. A lot of people, and me included, thought that Walt Disney was okay. Well, we didn't know that Werner von Braun, you would think the name was a clue, was the guy that was building the rockets that was bombing London during the Blitz, and he was very good at that. So they went and signed him on his Project Paperclip and brought him to Huntsville, Alabama. Yeah, my daddy was a World War II vet. Oh my God, if they had found out, they would have been station wagons and pickup trucks loaded from Berryheaded for Alabama. I laugh about it now because it's kind of funny. But back then, they knew not to say nothing about that shit. There's too many World War IIers alive. But who knew that this guy was a pedophile? Nobody knew, and we never had a clue until the governor of Florida, Robert DeSantis, found that they had declared themselves their own country and had never, ever paid taxes. Not federal, not state, not city, not county. No, all of us get to, yeah. They go in there and every 10 minutes they raise the price. I mean, while you're in there. So, but my son, I sent him once to Disney with my matron of honor. So I'd sent him there. He'd been to the Olympics. My son, I tried to make sure he had a rounded out avenue of fun. You know, that's what kids do. And I didn't get that choice when I was a kid. And my husband was really great at making sure the kids got to do something. And I ran the Georgia fairgrounds when they were making it here in Perry, Georgia. So we had tickets for. I had tickets for all the water parks for free and stuff. So all the kids went there. And think I wish I'd had childhood like my kids did. I didn't. It didn't work that well for us. Neither did my husband. We both worked 2, 3 jobs and took care of the family. So that's okay too. That's a good division, I think. So those two things have bothered me: the cats and losing Disney Castle, because again, it was modeled on my favorite castle. I still have one on a silk print that I bought when I was there, and it was my favorite. I went 3 times to visit it. Still didn't see a third of it. It was beautiful. I mean, this guy, he bankrupted the country, by the way. That's why they called him Mad King Ludwig, and they locked him away. And I think they locked him away at Northstein, but I'm not sure. But suddenly he and his doctor ended up drowned. They were just slippery footing, I guess. So we'll let that go for a minute. So I did see that they had made a major coup at Al Shafir Hospital. I knew they would. There wasn't none left standing except for Rafah. And the only thing that was really running in Rafah, besides the tent cities, bless their hearts, was the hospital on very low power, but they were still operating. And that was because of the IDF. They were making sure they could still run, you could still see people. So they knew that they went, that there were RPGs. There was, an RPG is a tank killer. If you're not military, don't know that, pros, it's a tank killer. If it hits that tank, they dead. That's just bottom line. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to sugarcoat October 7th. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything that these butchers did. And I'm not going to sugarcoat, hopefully, the butcher's death that they get and they deserve. That, again, the eye for an eye thing works for me. You got prisons full of people who are nothing but murderers. Nothing but murderers. I have seen some eyes that are so cold, you would not believe they were alive. You thought they were frozen. And I'm talking, these are 12-year-old kids who killed their parents and siblings, okay? They get to stay in jail for the rest of their lives. Oh, yippee skippy. So that's where more of our tax money is going? Not exactly. They privatized the jails. And you got to wonder what in the God's name, or how is that a profitable business? Mm-hmm. Might want to follow some of that money. Why did they kill Jeffrey Epstein on his second run in jail? Anybody? Sure. Yeah, none of us want to touch that shit. But Ghislaine, she's still in jail. She got 30 years. She know a lot. That girl know a lot of stuff. I hope they don't kill her too, because Epstein did not die by his own hand. It is obvious that he didn't. The man was supposedly strangled himself from the top bedpost of the top bunk, which, by the way, was nowhere near tall enough. He'd have been standing there with a rope around his neck going, okay, now what? Just saying. This stuff's not rocket science. Look into it. The same thing I said about 9/11. You could see poof, poof, poof. They were, that building was brought down, and so was Building 7, by explosives that bring down buildings all the time. And what is it they call it? Um, a coordinated explosion, something along that line. But yeah, and I've heard they actually had a conference of engineers that looked into it, and they used those planes as a cover to blow those buildings to hell. And building 7 that went down and pancaked it. They all pancaked, by the way, guys. They didn't just fly in. No, they pancaked. And if you've ever seen a controlled explosion, they pancake. And I got news for you. Metal does not burn and run as a molten liquid by jet fuel. There's only one thing that can do it. I'm not even going to say it. Y'all look it up, do your due diligence, make your own decisions. But if you'll notice, the 9/11 thing that you hear every year, which annoys the hell out of me, not because these people should not be forgotten, nor should they, but where's the rest of it? Where's the memorial for those 300 souls who died at the Pentagon when it hit the Pentagon? Where's their memorial? Where's the memorial for the men and women who died plowing into a field in Philadelphia? That's the excuse. Because they said, let's roll, and they took off. Personally, I believe we took them out. They were headed straight for the White House. And I personally, I believe that they were shot down. But this, it's just me. This is all for entertainment purposes only, so have fun with that. Look it up yourself, see what you think. In particular, learn what it takes to make molten steel. If nothing else, look that up. And there was nothing near building number 7. Not a bit of debris even hit building number 7. There was no fires, no plane hit it, and yet it pancaked too. So riddle me that, Batman. Entertainment purposes. I get a kick out of some of this stuff. I really do. I mean, it's like, at one point we go, oh, hey, we still have a brain. I know you've been downgrading us for a couple of decades, but, there's books, there's Google. We might figure some shit out. You never know. If you got a room full of engineers screaming, this was a controlled explosion, this is, and show you from this one to this one. Okay, we took out this hotel, and here's 9/11. We took out this hotel, this is 9/11, and they were smaller. 9/11 was smaller buildings than what they did when they imploded these other structures. And yet they went both, and you could see the puffs of smoke from the explosions at each floor. And again, riddle me that, Batman. You can't unsee things you've seen. Of course, they're not going to stand up and say, but something came down, people. They killed nearly 4,000 people of their own citizens, and they got away with it. Then they went and hit Iraq. There was not one terrorist on any of those planes from Iraq, and there wasn't one terrorist on any of those planes from Afghanistan. Look it up. Hopefully, if the black op's going to show up here, that's fine. I didn't want to make breakfast anyway. I'll have an MRE. Screw it. I don't care. You can only run so far from the truth. Oh, you might make it a generation, but the truth's going to come out somewhere, somehow, some way. It's just like the newspaper thing for me. It was who, what, when, where, why, and how. If you can answer who, what, when, where, why, and how, you had a story. But don't bring me a story if you could not answer who, what, when, where, why, and how. That's not a story. It's not. It's a piece of crap. You got to do the who, what, when, where, why, and how. You got to do all those questions. And if you can do that, I will print your story. And I ran a newspaper for several years, and it was a small city, but you still had to put out a newspaper. And mind you, I was the photographer. I wrote the articles. I got the legal files. I laid it out. I burned it. I transferred it. I printed it. My husband would come in and work for free while we bundled him and got him to the back door to be picked up. I mean, it was a small operation, and the people that should have been doing their jobs were home. But to me, it was, the paper's got to go. And finally, I had had enough. My husband didn't get any sleep as it was, and I wasn't getting any pay. Basically, I was getting like 20 hours pay, and I'm working 400 hours a week. I'm like, you can imagine. It didn't go well. It didn't go well though. So now we've got this new thing. Um, I don't even know what to think about half the stuff that's going on right now. You can't fight City Hall. We all know that. They know that. You got all this money that's just gone poof. That's the last time it happened was 9/11. The day before, they had come up and said, well, we've lost whole planes. 9/11, which is it? I was in Texas, and I wasn't far from Waco. And the Davidians were murdered. I can't say they were killed. They were murdered. They were murdered by our own people. Women, children, men, all of them murdered for no reason. There was no reason. These people called 911 habitually. I mean, it was a brand new program at the time. And I kept screaming at the TV, let them out of there. I mean, you could see, they, it was horrific because you knew there were several hundred kids in there and they didn't let them out. And those that they did let out, I don't even to this day know if they've ever made it out of jail. So never once people, and I am an Army veteran, never think that your government will not kill you. They will kill you just as fast as they give the order. If you served in the military, you shoot them or they turn and shoot you for disobeying an order. And you are trained to where if they say shoot your own foot off, you've done it before you thought about it. That's kind of an indoctrination theme there. But never lose sight of the fact that they won't kill you where you stand, because they will, and I'm a veteran. And they're not going to get troops from 30 years ago. They're going to get the fresh troops that are just, because that's what you do after boot camp. You've been conditioned for 6-8 weeks. And you've got a curler, a furl bird, a general, for God's sakes, that tells you fire, you freaking fire. Don't think about it. There's nothing in your mind that says it's wrong. There's nothing in your mind that goes, this could be done a different way. There's nothing there. It's pull the trigger. You're not thinking. You're not reasoning. You're just doing what you were told to do. Now, it's my Pixie. Pixie, don't you squint at me. Get back. I know you like giving everybody a laugh. And the one, yeah, she's back. She's going underneath the. See, there's this thing. Goes. This is a big bar. We could use it to run an actual bar. All right, good. Now you going that way? Don't you come up here? Don't you blink your eyes at me like that? And I'm worried about ghosts because you can see her having trouble breathing. And I don't know anyone with antibiotics. Get down. And I don't have any. Get down. Get down. Pixie. Pixie. She gets further underneath. She doesn't get down. She gets further underneath. Get out of there. Go, go. No. She's so cool. She's the stubborn. Now she's going to. Remember, always says, get the bottle. They listen to that. No, she doesn't. She doesn't. She just leaves wet footprints behind. What was the other thing I was going to spout off about this morning? There's plenty of stuff. I'm at my halfway point. What was it? There was something. Oh, yes. God bless. Pray for Moscow, which is something I never thought I would say. For God's sakes. I saw some of the footage last night, and then I checked it out today because I knew they'd have had more time. Dear God, what makes people go? And this is why I say, ladies, gentlemen, carry. It's your right. And that the life you save may not be yours. It might be a 4-year-old kid's. There's a reason now for us to carry. There's no excuse anymore. Everybody needs to carry. And my advice is to carry extra ammo. 150 were killed last night at a dance, a rave, basically, like it was in the Israeli desert. These are kids. Kids. They got over 150 wounded, some seriously. The structure, I don't know if it was set on fire, if it was accidentally caught fire. I don't know. I don't know who all were shot, who all maybe have died. And the fire point is 150 are dead. And my God, what did those? This is what I don't understand. If you're that much of a coward that you have to go and kill babies, like on October 7th in Israel, then you need to be off the planet. You don't need to be in a jail cell. You need to just be gone. Don't waste a bullet. Put them on the tallest hill you can find. Make sure everybody's watching. Make sure those cameras are all lined up. You do that for a couple of years, these people will quit killing innocent people en masse. Okay? 150 people. Think about how many people. Could you get them in your house? No, you couldn't. I don't care if you had a 3-story house. You couldn't get them in there. You'd be bump to bump to bump to bump. So somebody has to stop this mess. And they're not going to stop as long as they're not killed. And in particular, with the terrorists, they get money. They get a card saying, bless you and from Allah or whatever, and they get millions of dollars. Whereas before they had to take care of that 16-year-old, feed him some. And yeah, I'm talking 16. I think some start as young as 13. Some may be younger. And I've said all along, truthfully, I'm glad I'm not making the decisions because these are hard decisions. But these kids aren't going anywhere. They've already got the second generation coming up. The third generation is starting to be indoctrinated. And I say this because I've seen their elementary school books. So, yeah, okay, goody gumshoe. They can get this one. No. They can get the one, yeah, they can stop Hamas here. Really, they can't, but they're going to say they can stop Hamas here. Okay, well, what stops Hamas in 10 years when that 18-year-old is now 28 and they're coming for you because they've had a decade to plan it and going in and out. These people go in and out of this place and work in Israel. So they know Israel. They drew maps to them. They had all this. They captured all that. No. Come here. You want to be in? Come back. Come here. Come here. The camera's in the front. Come here. Come here. Come here. I won't spray you. Come here. All right. I ain't going to ask you again. She just decided she's got to be in. I don't know why. Anyway, those in Moscow, I hope they had a backup plan. Like a poison pill, something. It'd be what I would do if I were to attack somebody like the nation of Moscow. You don't want those puppies to catch you freaking spitting on the sidewalk. You don't want to be in their hands alive. I'm in particular for a woman, but it doesn't really matter that much. The same thing that's going on with the terrorists. The other thing I didn't understand, and I'll say that now too, they had bomb shelters and they have them all over the roads and they have them in their homes. Why weren't they loaded for bear? Why didn't they have RPGs? Why didn't they have AK-47s? Why didn't they have pistols? Why didn't they have ammo? Why didn't they have any way to help themselves? And that's the next thing they need to make sure of. That's the first thing that they need to make sure of before they put anybody anywhere else in Israel. If it's got to have a bomb shelter, then you load that sucker for bear where you can, one person, hold off an army for at least 3 days like it's the blooming Alamo in San Antonio. No quarter. because they're not going to give you any quarter. All you're going to do is remember what they did on October 7th. And even I can't speak about some of the atrocities, and I'm not going to try. So, what else was it that made me pee out this morning? There was a bunch. We've touched on this, that, and the other. And of course, the other external events that you're trying to get done and you can't get done. And here it is Sunday. Um, and I said, I'll be here all week. It is for entertainment purposes only. I didn't say I'd be entertaining. I just said it's for entertainment purposes, just so you know. So if there's anybody, again, I will make this plea. If there's anybody that would like to come talk, like, share, subscribe, it's free. If you don't like it, take it out in 20 seconds. Help a woman out, okay? Because apparently the purpose I had decided to go ahead and do anything today, because I am covered up, was to, I'm still in a bit of shock as to why none of my relatives, well, they're not my relatives, they're my husband's, but I do have one relative, my child and my grandchildren. Nothing. And my son bought me my startup kit, my other startup kit. I'm using the one that Robert got me because I use the boom mic and I like to just it. So I know, but he doesn't tell his friends, hey guys, check out my wife or nothing. He didn't tell his friends. Finally, after like 2 months, I said, did you tell your friends? And I got one of his friends on the phone. No, we didn't know you were on already. 2 months. 2 months. He waited. I think he told Mario, because actually I told Mario, a friend of his, yeah, I'm on. I've been on for a couple months. So that's been fun. It's been fun finding out that, your friends on Facebook, well, maybe they're not seeing it. So again, I'm going to have to throw myself on the mercy of those who don't know me to hit a like, hit a share, hit the subscription bell. Tell me you don't like me. Just get up here. It is going to be a social Woodstock, one way or the other. I'm not quitting. I'm not a quitter. I mean, maybe his family thinks I am, and maybe my own son thinks I am. I highly doubt that. My son is 45, knows me very well. I love him dearly. His son is 25, is already a veteran. His daughter will be 12 just before my birthday, and he's got a great wife. We get along fine. All of us do. It's just that they don't have time. My son works 70-hour weeks, and so does my daughter-in-law. If you throw away what you got to do at home, if you are off on a Saturday and Sunday, which I generally never was because I always had 2 jobs, but if you are off, then you have, you got to get the groceries, get the cars filled, you got to do this, you got to do that. So, I know why they're not there, but it's hard not to see them, to say, oh man, they didn't even set a like, it's hard to keep up enough courage, truthfully, to get up here every day and bore the shit out y'all. So one of you will get mad enough to say, lady, please. It's not going to work, but you can try it. In the intern, we'll keep going the way we're going. I have found out some more interesting things, and I've even seen some of my eyes again. The pollen here must be off the charts today. I've seen several different web channels that I watch, both for paranormal and for things like this, like the White Files. I just love AJ and Hucklefish. I mean, Hecklefish, not Huckle. Anyway, I like them. They're funny as they can be. But even they've started getting, and say at the very beginning and the middle and the end, they have commercials now too. They didn't used to have any commercials. So I've looked it up and I've checked out promoting and all that stuff. And my next step, I think, will be to get some education on that. They do have a YouTube studios, and I've gone to one of their classes, and it's pretty informative. So I'll probably do a couple more before I decide. Um, you have to have 1,000 viewers, and well, you have to have 1,000 subscribers. So basically, you've got to have a following, and I don't have that yet. I'll get an extra 20 here or there, or an extra 5 or 10. I mean, it brings the algorithms up. It's not enough, and there's not enough followers. And at this point, I'm knowing nothing about what I'm doing. The only thing I know is just like I'm just not a quitter, and I think it's important. And they're already trying to throw restrictions on YouTube. They're already asking us to buy the premium channel without commercials, as YouTube never had commercials before. And in the past year and a half, boy, they went from 4-second commercials to 10-second commercials to now they're 49-second commercials and some higher. I love the ones that are in Spanish. You can't get a translation. I got stuff all over. You don't get a translation. It's in Spanish the whole time. So whatever it is they're selling, I can get it, but I don't think everybody else can. So off we go on a different tangent. So if anybody does see me say on Facebook or whatever, and you would rather see it, even on your TV. It's amazing to walk into a room and see yourself on a 70-inch screen, talking to absolutely nobody. And at one point, you're thinking to yourself, like, this is 1907. I would have already been locked up as crazy. Might have been. Good thing it's the 21st century. So we've had a lot going on in the past 2 days. And I'm going to ring off here because I'm going to have to go and help this baby and try to send him to find one of his friends with an antibiotic. I just need one, something I'm going to have to combat this. And I've looked everywhere and I don't have any. And try to get that out of the way. It being a Sunday, I don't know if you can catch anybody yet. It'll probably be 12, 2, 3 in the afternoon before everybody moves. Was there anything else I wanted? No, I just kind of wanted y'all to come on down to Woodstock. And, we're at the bar. I swear to you, I'm at the bar. And this bar doesn't extend the bar. It's further out. I'm thinking of turning all my equipment around and sitting behind the bar. So, but then basically, instead of the background that I have, you would just have the mirror on the back of my head. So I can't think that that's going to be a good view either. And every time we get started on cleaning out the room that's become the catch-all room, we just didn't get to it. You looked and you shut the door and you said, damn. Couldn't we just shut this out the window? But if you haven't used it in like 3 years, you don't need it. That's my motto. He says, "Oh, you got too many clothes." Well, he's right. I got a lot of clothes, and my clothing, I'll start them at a certain size anyway, and to this size, and I change them out for seasons as well. So yeah, I have a lot of clothes. I got like 30 coats. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in mine. But this is a place with 3 closets. And yes, Robert has clothes too. He can use his man cave for that. And I've got to get to the closet to be able to use the one that's what will eventually be my library/studio, I hope. But so far, not anyone has any time to help. And well, for God's sakes, if they don't have time to even look at my, you know, podcast, they're not going to have time to come over and help us carry all the stuff downstairs into the curb that people can have. And I can't lift anything, or I'm on my back for the rest of the week. I'm out. So we'll see what comes up next. I'm going to put that aside too. I only allow one every few days, so and I when I get up here and I'm thinking about what this is, what that is, and my anger meter starts to rise, because basically, if we're asked for help from anybody for anything, we're there. But in the last, say, 4 years, that's not been reciprocated. And finally, it's just we don't get the calls anymore. And I don't know anyone down here. I only know a few people that Robert knows from work. I don't make friends easily, and that's for several reasons, very good ones. Um, I really don't like to fight, so I don't. I figure it's easier just not make new friends. Your friends will hit you just as hard as your family will, and just as fast. You'll get better treatment, literally, from a complete stranger than you will from your friends and family. I mean, I can testify that before the grand jury. I'm not kidding you. I mean, before the Supreme Court. That's just a fait accompli. That's the way it is. But it took me a long time to figure that out. You might think, you think, oh, I'm smart enough. I can read this book. No, I'm stupid as hell. I mean, I didn't see that coming for a blue streak. And you're like, how did I not see that right in my face? But you don't. Or maybe you just see it and you don't want to, it kind of like goes in, goes out because you don't want to keep it because you got to deal with it. And you don't really want to deal with that. So, yeah, I got some stories that curl everybody's hair, but we don't want to do that. And what's left of his family keeps telling me not to write the book. And at the rate we're all going, I'm gonna outlive everybody and write the book anyway. They don't like my sense of humor much either, I gotta say. But see, I'm coming out. I don't have a full hour. I've been thinking of cutting it back, so I'm going to start doing that starting today. If there's anybody out there that does see this, I will try to upload it to Facebook. If you see it on YouTube, like, hit the bell, put something in the comments. I will answer you. I will get to you. I like to throw it on Facebook. I keep thinking that my Facebook guys are going to pop in there. And some of them have, I guess. I guess they think it stays there. And in some cases, yes, the like will stay lit if you like it. And so will subscriptions that will stay. So basically, even if you've only done it the one time, you don't have to do it every time. It's just, and that'll stay. But maybe people don't either get YouTube or don't spend a lot of time on social media. It's understandable. I may not like it, but it's understandable. So again, I'm going to throw myself on the mercy of strangers' kindness and ask if everybody will, my kitten is coming back, will do me a favor and like and hit the bell. And if we can keep that going, I can keep my channel. That means I get to bug y'all again tomorrow. I live for this. I really do. I love this. I love the few people that have actually stopped and watched. You guys are epic. Okay. If you started this and you got to the end, you're totally epic. I would love to see where everybody's from too. So if you do throw anything in, throw in where you're from because I'd love to see where everybody's from. I've been everywhere, all over the world, and there's a lot of great places in the world. So I would love to see where everybody's from if you get a chance. And on that note, I see my time is running down. And I always hate to leave. I'm not really, there's nobody on the other side because I have live chat on and nobody's talking. But I keep trying, and I'm going to keep trying until the rest of you guys find me. So come on down to the bar, bring your own hooch, and we'll see you there. Toodles.